Yes, this is Tactical Red, and I'm here with the Contextual one. We've spoken many times previously, and we've decided to do something together. So we're just going to kick it off straight from the bat and not waste any time for anyone. And we're just going to straight talk about today. I'm going to talk a bit about Conte, a bit about a potential Man United signing that is going to shock people, or some people, because some people may not know this guy. But for me, this guy should be a prime target for Man United in the summer. And right now, we're going to go into the Man United managerial situation in terms of Rangnick and what he's done, Ralf Rangnick, what he's done, and what we should be doing in the summer. Yeah. Contextual one. What is your thoughts on Ralf?
I think that he's got a massive task ahead of him, but I've already made my mind up that I don't want him to be the long-term manager, and the reason why is we need a football brain in the boardroom, not necessarily in the dugout. Obviously we do need one in the dugout, but I think he's Ralf Rangnick, given that he's been both a coach and a director of football. I think keep him as the man to keep the bigger picture, and then my first choice for permanent manager is Mancini, personally.
What as in
Robert? Yep, that one. The very same.
Man City, Mancini. What, Aguero, 23rd minute?
Of course.
Why?
Because I'm petty like that. They took Tevez from us. They tried to take Rooney from us. They were going to get Ronaldo this summer. You can't let that slide. Why don't you, if we were willing to consider Brendan Rodgers, right, the man who won nothing for Liverpool, and people will talk about 13-14, I look at it differently. Liverpool had no European football that season. They went out, we knocked them out of the League Cup that season, when in the Moyes season, and they got knocked out of the FA Cup, in the 5th round by Arsenal, who they beat 5-1 the week before. They had a lot of, and again, I'm not trying to be hypocritical here, but they had a lot of things go for them that season that evidently didn't go for them the next season because they didn't get anywhere near as many penalties.
Yeah.
They didn't have any. The fact of the matter is, people will always point to that Gerrard slip, but I don't think that's what cost Liverpool. What cost Liverpool is their defense. No team has ever won the Premier League getting 50 or more goals.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, exactly. That type of record defensively. Shocking.
Yeah. And the thing is, people say, oh, Jamie Carragher said that because he's Gerrard's mate. Yeah, it's true. But it's also true that no team has ever won the league conceding that many goals. It just doesn't happen.
I think with Brendan Rodgers, I would definitely have to say no. I don't really rate a guy who bottles. I mean, if you're bottling Champions League top 4, 2 seasons in a row, let alone what's he going to do when he gets to a final? What's he going to do when it's
Yeah. Well, he's won a final. He's won a final.
And he won a final. Fair enough, but he bottled winning it with Liverpool. He bottled top 4. When the real stakes are high. FA Cup's not real stakes. It's not real pressure.
Because Ranieri won the league with Leicester. So that happened within the last 5 years.
So for me, I would definitely say no. Regarding Mancini, I mean, for him to be a permanent manager, I mean, I wouldn't really. I wouldn't really be happy with Mancini. I understand he's a good manager, top quality manager. I know he won the World Cup, everything, but
no, the World Euros,
sorry, but no, just the fact that you did that last minute against Manchester United, celebrating. I mean, it's just not going to happen, But with Ralf Rangnick, I agree with you completely. I do not want him as the permanent manager, and just because I want us to stick to a plan for the first time in however long, the fact is he's been brought in as an interim. Like, I don't like the fact that McKenna is still there, that some of the other guys in the backroom staff are still there. They need to be.
Mike Phelan is a parasite.
He's a parasite. Please tell them about Mike Phelan. Tell them, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's some fun facts for all of you who think that he's some great assistant to Ferguson because they won 3 titles together. He's the only assistant manager with whom Ferguson never reached an FA Cup final. For context, Walter Smith was there for 3 months, won an FA Cup.
Mm.
All of our biggest Manchester United have only ever lost 3 European finals. He was the assistant manager on every occasion, both the Barcelonas and Villarreal.
Yes.
Look at all of our heaviest home defeats in Premier League history.
Mm.
Initially 2009 against Liverpool, 4-1 at home. Assistant manager Mike Phelan.
Mm-hmm.
The 6-1 versus City. Who was the assistant manager? Mike Phelan.
Mm-hmm.
The 6-1 versus Tottenham. Who was the assistant manager? Mike Phelan.
There you go.
5-0 versus Liverpool. Who was the assistant manager?
Mm-hmm.
A bit of a theme emerging here, isn't it?
It's a massive theme, and we brought him out of the wilderness. He was in Australia, shrimp on the Barbie style. He was doing nothing.
He was trying to. He gave. He's the one who gave Usain Bolt his football debut.
Exactly. What kind of manager gives Usain Bolt the debut? I mean, he's pathetic. He was pathetic at Hull. He actually bought Maguire, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure about that, but he knows Maguire through Hull. Hull City. So obviously there was a recommendation potentially from Ollie to get this clown Maguire, and we'll go into Maguire as well because I am not a fan whatsoever. But Phelan and McKenna and the rest of them idiots that Ollie brought. If you look at their CV, as coaches or whatever, they've been coaches for Sunderland, coaches for teams that no one's heard of, coaches for teams in Norway. Do you know what I'm saying? None of them have any credentials, 0 credentials, just as Ollie. And we have decided to keep these people still at the club whilst we get rid of Ollie. This at the end of the day, what I don't like about Randick is that he's accepted the job in these circumstances. If I'm coming in as an interim manager, I am not accepting certain people still being in the club. I just don't like it.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's disappointed me about him massively is that, he came with the reputation of being his own man, of being this. Okay, yeah, you can be a great thinker and not necessarily be, a man who's willing to lay down the law. But why are Phelan and McKenna and Darren Fletcher still around? It's wrong. And his team selections worry me too.
Yes.
Maguire, really?
Oh.
Really? McTominay? Okay, McTominay to a point, I understand it.
Yes.
But
not Maguire.
If you look at the front four though, right? You got Bruno, Ronaldo, Rashford, and who's the other one? Sancho, right? Only one of them is an actual creator. The other 3 don't know how to create. Okay, Ronaldo back in the day, yes, but he's 36, and you've got to manage him properly.
Mm-hmm.
Rashford is not. Rashford it's worrisome. I think, like you said earlier today, he may need to go, but I think he'll be impossible to get rid of. But on the flip side, he's become bigger than the club in a way, and that's not a good thing. Okay, so like what he does off the pitch has made him such a asset brand-wise to the club, and I think he's lost track of football. And there's other angles we can go at from on this particular topic, but I think we'll save that for another day. But I think he's not developed at all. It's not as bad as Greenwood in the sense, because when Rashford was that age, one thing I'll give Mourinho is he brought in Zlatan, and that benefited Rashford. It benefited Martial, Pogba, also benefited Jesse Lingard a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. I think with these, those 4, like these 4 players that you just mentioned, like these are, are like, they're not all, obviously 3 are homegrown. Martial was like the youngster that we bought. So he's looked at in some ways the same. Obviously, not all fans like him, etc., etc. But really, none of them have developed to their potential. No. Like I would say Martial has probably gone backwards. I would say Jesse Lingard has just stayed the same. Rashford backwards, and Greenwood has gone slightly backwards in my opinion too.
Yeah.
And obviously Ollie was a major part in their development. But
Or lack of.
even under Mourinho, lack of. Even under Mourinho, I still saw development in Martial.
Definitely.
Even though he didn't play games, even though he didn't start all the time, and even though he wasn't happy, I still saw something way more in him with Mourinho than I do now. And I don't know if, I know Ranieri's coming in, but for me, I wouldn't have never appointed an interim manager. I mean, for me, it's a waste of time. At the end of the day, if Ten Hag doesn't want the job, if that's their main target, because that's what's been said in the papers. I mean, I don't know how you can't take away Ten Hag from Ajax. I mean, I get he's started something with Ajax and they look amazing right now. I get it, but he's not going to win Champions League. He's not. And then if he came to Manchester United, he would at least get some time to actually work with the players. Like if you come in now, if he comes in the summer, he's gonna again have to figure out what he wants in the style, etc., etc. Where that would have been implemented already. So I don't know, man. I still feel it's a bit messy. And with that front four, like you said, I don't see that formation working at all. And I think Rangnick needs to really think about how to progress Man United, because that, I know it's his style, but it doesn't work with the players we have. And he said that he needs to work with the players that we have and create a style that fits the players. And it's not at the moment. And I know it's in progress, but it's not.
That's why that's why I really regret missing out on Antonio Conte. You can talk about, Rangnick becoming a director of football, whatever, right? Let's look at things in context. Missing out on Conte is not what pissed me off the most. It's the fact that we were in a position that Conte was gettable for Tottenham. And that is down to the fact that we gave Tottenham a free run at Fabio Paratici. He's the most un-Daniel Levy-like appointment you can think of. He's someone who views sponsorship deals as a reward for, doing well in recruitment and then doing well on the pitch, and them being a reward for that. That does not fit Daniel Levy's philosophy. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah.
I think anyone would agree with that. And so the fact that he'd been linked to United for 2 years, and then we gave Tottenham of all teams a free run at him while all our fans gassed up that Pirates of the Caribbean character Murtaugh. You know what I'm referring to, the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, right?
No, but it's a funny one though. I don't know.
Have you ever seen that film?
I have, but I don't really remember it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, do you remember the first one where Jack Sparrow was talking to those two guards?
No.
But yeah, just Murtaugh is the guard's name, and Murtaugh is. But we are effectively Disneyland. I mean, we've got
100%.
We've got Murtaugh.
Fletcher. What is Fletcher's role? I see him he's a director of football apparently or something, and he's on the pitch giving out instructions and training with the player. I mean, it is Disneyland. Seriously.
I can be I'm a very cynical person about a lot of things. Do you know what his role is, in my opinion? To keep the gravy train flowing and moving on time.
What do you mean?
Do you know when Rio's a lot of times not corrupt, that's the wrong way of talking about Rio, but a lot of people accidentally give away the game. When Rio said Ollie's at the wheel, he's at the wheel of what? A gravy train that stops Rio's plays, Giggs's plays, Scholes, Neville, all those people who are backing him, Ferguson, that gravy train.
This, for me, I agree. And for me, I think the final destination is Ferguson. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Ferguson basically makes all the decisions. Not all the decisions, but he was the consultant for Manchester United, for Ed Woodward and the Glazers for the last 8 years, obviously.
I don't think for the last 8 years. I think what happened was he appointed Moyes. That much is known.
Yeah.
But I think after that, Ed Woodward, Van Gaal and Mourinho were definitely his appointments, not Ferguson's.
But I still believe that, Ferguson was, obviously he's on the board, but I still believe his weight, he holds a lot of weight.
Oh yeah.
So I think regardless of the fact that Ed Woodward said, okay, I'm going to make a decision on Van Gaal, which I agree with that. Ferguson didn't want Van Gaal after a period of time because he sold all of his fledglings, i.e. Welbeck, Evans, Raphael, a few other guys. He Van Persie. He sold players that Fergie was trying to develop, And
And I think Van Gaal was wrong for selling them. And I think selling them. I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't have won the title in 2016. He's the reason we didn't. Van Persie, Nani, Evans, Michael Keane, Di Maria,
yeah.
another one as well. Okay, he didn't keep Falcao. Okay, Chicharito. He sold well, but the season before, right? Those 6 players, he effectively sold to accommodate a completely finished Wayne Rooney. And Rooney got injured that season, and all he bought in was Martial and Memphis, a 19 and a 21-year-old. Oh yeah, and he bought the Schmid Field. And you know that summer that what we paid for the Schmid Field, Schneidlin and Schweinsteiger.
No, talk about.
Pardon?
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Bayern Munich bought an in his prime Arturo Vidal for that money. We could have. Why didn't we go and get him? Van Gaal knew him from his time in Germany. Not as if he wasn't.
Well, I do think, I do think Van Gaal did make mistakes, but I also think the time that he got given compared to someone like Ollie.
Oh God, yeah.
Chalk and cheese. It's chalk and cheese. So yeah, he did. He wanted to do things his way, and he brought in a scouting system, a scouting network that brought in a few youngsters. But i.e. What's his name, Chong, and the other Dutch kid, the striker, I forget his name. A few other guys as well. But at the end of the day, yeah, he I don't think he was the right man for Man United, but Fergie was
sabotaging him, definitely.
That Fergie was the factor, and with Mourinho too, blocking transfer deals. I mean, what people don't seem to understand is that Ed Woodward doesn't know anything about football, so why would he block deals? Obviously, someone else.
This is actually a really important subject. Do you know Jose Mourinho recommended Luis Campos to Woodward after Woodward, how badly he messed up the Perisic deal?
Yeah.
Mourinho did not want to sell Martial. Those two things are from 2 different summers. He wanted to throw Matteo Darmian into that deal. The deal was all done, but Woodward put the kibosh on it at the last moment, thinking he'd get more in the standalone deal for Darmian. And we ended up without Perisic. And if you remember the start of that season, Zlatan was injured earlier, from the previous season. Pogba got injured early. Fellaini, who became a vital player, got injured early in that season, missed about a month. There was a few others as well. And we ended up relying on Lukaku, Martial, and Rashford playing flat out. And then Zlatan came back from injury early. And that's what disrupted the season, in my opinion. And the thing is, people underestimate how important Zlatan or a player like that was. An experienced player who's a leader and would keep a lot of the players in line, the younger
100%,
ones.
100%.
And you notice how all these issues with Martial, with Pogba and everything all started happening after Zlatan left.
Well, Mourinho brought in Zlatan to be his, lieutenant, let's be honest.
And he was a very good lieutenant.
Oh, 100% he was. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But, a manager relying on a player to do that, I don't look at that as a quality, in my opinion. I mean, because the player can always leave. When, like you said, when he leaves, what happens then?
Well, the thing is, Mourinho wasn't given a chance to replace Zlatan's influence. He wanted Perisic, he wanted Koulibaly, players who aren't actually old. It's a massive misconception that Jose only signs old players. Oli signed more 30-year-olds or 30-plus-year-olds than Jose did. And so he wanted experienced players who are also in their prime or approaching it. So that way it would help the likes of Pogba, Martial, Rashford. Lukaku was still relatively young when we signed him. He was only 23 or 24.
Yeah, he was 24.
All these players, it would have helped them massively to mature as people, as professionals, and give them that guidance. Another massive misconception that's being thrown around is this whole, trying to recreate the class of 92. The class of 92 was, number one, a freak occurrence, like the Busby Babes were. Secondly, those players were all integrated into a winning team.
Exactly.
You had even Giggs, right? He was the earliest one who got integrated in. But you had Peter Schmeichel, who had won the Euros with Denmark, and he was arguably the best keeper in the world at the time. You had the likes of Dennis Irwin, who's a seasoned professional. Paul Ince was a seasoned professional.
You had Mark Hughes. You had
Mark Hughes, Kanchelskis. all of these were experienced professionals.
Mhm.
And okay, Eric Cantona was the stardust that eventually he was the missing piece in the jigsaw. But at the same time, Giggs was the only one of the class of '90 who was in the team at that moment.
Yeah.
And by the time, people say, oh, you don't win anything with kids. Alan Hansen was right, though, because, Beckham, Scholes, who else was it? Beckham, Scholes, Butt, and both the Nevilles, right? Those five.
Mm.
Well, added to a team that had Peter Schmeichel in his prime, had Brian Robson had just left.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane was in his prime. Paul Ince had just left. Okay. So you had Steve Bruce, Gary Pallister, Dennis Irwin, Roy Keane, Andy Cole, Eric Cantona, all of them in their primes. And people forget that the 95-96 season and 96-97 was very much a case of Schmeichel and Cantona, their leadership, those were the two people who really got United over the line in those seasons.
100%.
A lot of people forget this.
People like to recreate,
rewrite
with all this, magic and fairy dust. But you actually look at what actually happened, like even in '99. I'm a Man United fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of the biggest Man United fans. I try to watch as many games as possible. When you look at the '99 team and how compared to compare these teams to even let's say compare this. I'm an honest fan. Compare this team to the Liverpool current team who won the Champions League, etc., etc. They would get battered, and I know, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they would. With that '99 team, it had high level quality and they had attacking flair, everything like that. But they had no control. They wouldn't control games.
Scholes could control the game, but at the same time,
control the game. But Scholes, I'm talking about tactically here. Tactically, we wasn't set up. Tactically, the individual players were amazing. Our players were better than Liverpool's players. 100%.
Oh, yes.
But the way we were set up to play, we didn't play with any sort of control or it was gung-ho football, and that won us the Champions League, but it was lucky because, so many games were tight, so many games were last minute goals, etc., etc. And we did deserve it, but I do believe that if you look at the best teams, the top teams, they go and do it again.
The thing is though, I think the '08 team was better than the '99 team, both tactically and in personnel.
Personnel, no, but except for Ronaldo edges it. Obviously, Ronaldo edges it.
Okay, let's go man for man. Van der Sar versus Schmeichel. Van der Sar. Just.
People would be like, "How dare you?" But I watched Schmeichel, and I know in his pomp in the early '90s, early to mid '90s, I know he was like elite, but Van der Sar was just completely consistent, and didn't make any mistakes or. I see Schmeichel get chipped out hundreds of times, So for me, Van der Sar.
And Van der Sar, people underrate the how big an effect he had on our team. Notice, people say, oh, he had Rio and Vidic. Rio only started performing consistent. Okay, his first season was excellent. Second season, pre the drug testing, he was good. But then, he only started getting really consistent after Van der Sar joined.
Yes.
And then, Van der Sar, Evra, and Vidic all joined within 6 months of each other. And, Gary Neville, that's when he started getting injured. But, at the end of the day, Evra said it, Van der Sar was the captain of that defense. The way he organized his defense. Have you noticed that? And a lot of people blame him for the 2 final losses against Barcelona. I don't.
Van der Sar?
Yeah.
I know the Messi goal was a little bit, but
no. I thought that at the time, but then if you look at it,
it was.
But the thing is, right, Van der Sar, if you look at from his perspective, the way he expected, and players study other players, and what usually happens is Messi will play a 1-2 with a Xavi, Iniesta, Villa, Pedro, whoever. And then, get closer to the edge of the box, then it'd shoot towards the top corner. And if you look at Van der Sar's positioning, he was anticipating that. Messi, he hit it hard, he hit it really early, and he hit it really low.
It was early.
Van der Sar is 6'6", and he hit it central. There's no way he could have got to it. Physically, that's not possible.
It wasn't possible. It wasn't. And, yeah, Van der Sar was flawless. And he was, we talk about Edison and these guys with their feet.
Oh, God, Van
Van
der
der
Sar
Sar
was the OG.
was elite with his feet. He was the best I've seen before this era with keepers. He, with his feet and throwing as well. I mean, he would start attacks. He would start a lot.
Schmeichel had it on the throw-ins, but Van der Sar everything else.
Yeah. I would give him Schmeichel with the throws because he could throw it the whole distance of the pitch.
But Neuer is like Neuer is like German efficiency defined. It's like they see Schmeichel, they see Van der Sar. We merge them together and we create a prototype goalkeeper in Neuer.
Basically, and Neuer is like a Schmeichel on steroids. Let's be honest.
He's got a lot of Van der Sar in him as well. Like his distribution's just as good.
Distribution and reading the game and
he's got a lot of Jens Lehmann in him too. Not like the hot-headedness, but like
aggression. Aggression. It's that German aggression.
No, not even the aggression. It's something else. It's difficult to describe, but there's a lot of Jens Lehmann I see in, like Jens Lehmann's good qualities. I see in Neuer, his organization.
Maybe.
And how far he comes from his area. Jens Lehmann used to always play pretty high up.
Yeah. But Neuer could actually do it, where Jens Lehmann was a bit dodgy.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get on to, speaking of managerial situation, we talk about Fergie, Conte. This is why people don't understand how monumental him going to Tottenham is. Tottenham have a world-class stadium, world-class training facilities. They're in London. That since Ollie has come to United, that's become a factor in how attractive the club is. I don't care what anyone says. And I noticed that with Dybala. That was the first time I saw it. When Dybala wanted to join Tottenham over us. That would not happen under any other manager. I remember when he scored at Old Trafford, the winner for Juventus in 2018, and he was talking about how it's always been a dream of his to play there. Even under a washed Jose Mourinho, Dybala would not choose Tottenham over United. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's when I first noticed how bad of an influence Ollie is, and that how bad his reign was going to be.
Oh yeah. I mean, on my channel, I called it from when he first got the job. I just knew he was going to be a failure. But I was so shocked the fact that we didn't get Conte when Ollie lost to 5-0 against Liverpool. It's like, this is the thing about our club. Yeah, our club is like, it's so held in this sort of like tradition. They're stuck in their old school mentality. The fact is,
a lot of cronyism going on too.
Yeah, of course, and the fact that again, I believe Fergie wouldn't want someone like Conte there. Then you saw Gary Neville's not saying, "I'm not sure."
Yeah. Neville was taking a victory lap. That hurt. Yeah, when he was saying, "Oh, Conte's not going to come to United," he was so gleeful about it, and it hurt to see that. It really did.
I just feel like some of these guys are briefed, and I just don't know why our club has to have this traditional type of managers, and the fact now with Ranić, they're already criticizing him. It's stuck in the past, and I feel like until Fergie, obviously passes away and stuff like that, I don't feel like we'll ever be able to move forward from Fergie era until that day.
But the thing is, United have always been a second club. Went through 6 managers between Busby and Ferguson.
Exactly.
And the thing is with United, it's a freakish situation. Do you know that lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place?
Mm-hmm.
It literally did with United. 2 Scottish managers, Busby and Ferguson, who were both outsiders. Let's not forget that they were both outsiders.
One played for Liverpool, did he not, Busby?
Yeah, and he started his career at City.
City, that was it.
He only played for 2 clubs, City and Liverpool. Do you know what the modern equivalent of Busby would be? James Milner becoming our manager one day. Or Nicolas Anelka. Think about that. Because he played for literally all our rivals.
Robbie Fowler.
Oh, I'd say Anelka more because he played for literally every single one of them. He played for Arsenal, played for Chelsea, City, and Liverpool.
And did he play for Leeds as well?
Anelka, no.
Oh, no, he didn't, did he?
No, but he did play 6 months at Liverpool on loan.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And yeah, so
No, you're right. With the Lightning striking twice, 100%. I mean, and so
the Busby Babes, the Fergie fledglings, Lightning struck twice.
Yeah.
2 long-term managers. But at the same time, with this whole Solskjaer thing, they try to rewrite the narrative. He's an insider. He is the complete opposite of what Fergie or Busby were.
Mm-hmm.
Busby retired as Liverpool captain. Not, you can't even say that about Steven Gerrard because he went to LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
Busby's at the time of his retirement, he was captain of Liverpool.
Wow.
There is no comparison. And Ferguson had never even worked a day in England before he showed up at Old Trafford.
Exactly.
So it's a massive, like you said earlier, it's a rewriting of history. It's a decontextualizing of everything, and we live in a society that has unfortunately been engineered where people don't read beyond headlines.
They don't.
Or scratch beneath the surface.
They don't read beyond the headlines at all. And, you know, I think we're coming to a situation now where we're at a crossroads right now, with Man United, in terms of what we do next. Where are we going to go? Are we going to still stay in the past? Or are we going to go towards the future and try to do something modern? You know, I feel like Ranić obviously being there, but I still feel like, I feel the fact that the coaches are still there tells me that he has no power.
Yeah.
Tells me that he has no clout, that they don't respect him. The fact that I've seen Darren Fletcher shouting at players, you know, tells me that they don't respect him, and he's not looked upon as this amazing guy at Man United, because they have a little box at Man United. They have McTominay, they have Luke Shaw, they have the coaches, which are all English or British. They have Maguire, they have Darren Fletcher. You know, they have their
Bissaka, Shaw.
Sure, they have their whole little culture of where they go golfing. I've seen them in pictures together, golfing and doing what they're doing together outside of football. And this is what it's about. It's jobs for the boys. So, you know, that culture, which funny enough, Fergie came to Man United and eradicated this drinking culture. Someone needs to come to Manchester United, eradicate this boys for the job culture.
Yeah, the cronyism. That's what I've been saying quite a bit, that, you know, people saying about, oh, Fergie came in, they always try and invoke him to defend Ollie. But like, Ferguson had a culture of alcoholism that he had to eradicate. Ollie's leaving behind for his successor a culture of cronyism that is going to be just as bad, if not worse than.
It's very hard because it's not just in the players; it's in the board. It's in the.
Yeah, but there's also Ollie's inflicted a losing mentality on the club, and that is very dangerous.
That is.
And this is why Conte would have been so perfect. Look at Juventus before. People say, oh, they won 9 in a row. You know what happened the 2 seasons where they finished the 2 seasons before he arrived? No. 7th each time. Each time. And the only difference between those 2 seasons, and for someone who likes Juventus, the 2011 season, the only consolation was that it was AC Milan who won the Scudetto, not Inter.
And was it Allegri that won it?
Yeah. He's the one who effectively broke Inter's run. But then, you know, Conte, he came in, and this was a Juventus side that had, you know, the team he inherited was shit.
Yeah.
Or, you know, or if not shit, it was broken / a lot of unfulfilled potential. What do I mean by that? Buffon was 33, had a lot of injuries and had been through depression. So I think since the 2006 World Cup, but it was around that time. He'd become injury prone and people thought he was finished. I did. Chiellini was a failing left back.
I remember.
Bonucci had just been bought. He was fairly young. Who else was there? Barzagli I think he came 6 months before Conte, or he's one of Conte's first signings. One of the two, right? They had Mohamed Sissoko, ex-Liverpool, in midfield. They had that Diego. He's a good player, but he just wasn't all that. They had Cannavaro had just retired. They had Jorge Andrade. He was a very good defender, but he was very injury prone. Marquisio definitely wasn't the player he turned into. Who else was there? Del Piero was 37, 38. Yeah, and Conte, okay, with the help of Paratici, Beppe Marotta above him, at the same time, he turned a team that had finished seventh, was broken, had not won anything since 2006. He became the first in the history of Serie A since it became a 20-team league to win it unbeaten. His second season, yeah, and all he did was like bring in Perlo, Vucinic, and all those, right? His second season, he retained it, and yeah, it wasn't like as exciting. You know, he brought in a 19-year-old Paul Pogba into that first team. People say he doesn't play the youth. Ferguson and Phelan let that 19-year-old go. They disregarded him.
Crazy. And who's there now again, letting the guy go?
Yeah, Phelan. But yeah, the thing is, though, right? That midfield that Conte put together at Juventus, Marchisio, Vidal, Pirlo, and Pogba. Do you know how much it cost him in total?
Not sure.
12 million. 12 million. He inherited Marchisio. Pirlo came on a free, Pogba came on a free, and Vidal was 12 million. And he put that together. Okay, forget Marchisio, you inherited him. Pirlo, Vidal, and Pogba for a combined 12 million over the space of 2 summers. We had Pogba. Why didn't we move for Pirlo for free when he was available? Very good player. And Vidal, he was well known across Europe. 12 million.
Wasn't he Udinese, Vidal?
No, that was Alexis Sanchez.
Where was Vidal from? Palermo?
Vidal's from Bayer Leverkusen.
Bayer Leverkusen, no. Okay.
But yeah, he was 22. He was well known across the continent. And then Conte turned that team, and he crowbarred a 19-year-old Pogba into that midfield. Do you know what it says about Pogba? How good he was. To have got Marchisio, Vidal, Pirlo, MVP. They were that good.
I know exactly how good he was because I used to watch him and couldn't wait. That I used to think we have a replacement for Paul Scholes. And
he would have been. In fact, what pisses me off the most is the way I think Phelan was definitely behind it. But Ferguson, you remember Makeda in 2009, how he came in and made that little bit of a difference?
Who?
Federico Makeda, that goal against Villa, the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Pogba is obviously a better player than that and had potential, but at a time where we were having midfield issues, youth courage.
O'Shea. We play O'Shea midfield a lot.
No, O'Shea had left the season before that, but I remember it was against Blackburn. We played Park Ji-sung and Raphael in central midfield, and we had a fully fit Pogba.
Madness.
He could have had that Makeda impact. He could have been that, at a time where a season where Yaya Toure really, became unleashed. This was our own answer to it in waiting.
Of course. And we
didn't play him. We ignored him.
It was crazy, really. It's madness, and the fact that we letting him go for free again.
Yeah, and getting to this, and this is why I think a lot of the old guard United hate Pogba the most.
Oh yeah.
Conte's third season at Juventus, and that was more the Moyes season. So this just let that fester for a moment. Where did we finish that Moyes season?
7th.
Do you know what Juventus? Yeah, they got eliminated from the groups of the Champions League that season. But do you know what else they did that season? They became the only team in the history of the major leagues in Europe to break the 100-point barrier in a 38-game season. To this day, they're the only one that have done it. They got 102 points that season. Wow. 102.
And Pogba was in that team.
Yes, and he played the most minutes of any outfield player. That's why they hate him so much, because they thought, oh yeah, because we won the title in Fergie's last season. Look at how his star rose, and how the club fell. United fell, and that season encapsulated it completely.
This is just. It's been like this for Manchester United, obviously. I believe even whilst Fergie was there.
Oh God, yeah.
Since basically Ronaldo left.
Yeah.
Since Ronaldo left, Fergie just, I don't know, he should have maybe retired. I think not retired, but he's something left him, to be honest with you. He didn't have obviously Queiroz, that left him. He brought in Freeland, like you said already. And he didn't really. I think he stopped trying to be the best team in the world, or his ambition waned slightly. Yeah, he could win the league, fine. Yeah, he knew how to do that, but
Yeah, but
and the players that we had. I mean, I don't remember a quality signing, really.
no.
I don't remember.
Robin van Persie, really, in the last.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was it.
De Gea to a point, but we could have got Neuer that summer.
Yeah, I mean, we could have got so many different keepers.
I mean, look at the defenders, right? Yeah, Chris Smalling was a very good signing. But you know that summer, a 23-year-old Bonucci moved to Juventus for 10 million.
We could have got Robin as well. I remember.
That Ronaldo deal. Ferguson has lied so much about that, and I've researched it. Full context. This goes back to 2000 when Luis Figo was effectively coerced into signing for Real Madrid. This was, I think, just before George Mendes became his agent, or he had a meeting with Florentino Perez. And basically, there was a clause written that if Figo doesn't join, he owes Real Madrid the transfer money personally.
Oh wow!
So, as revenge, George Mendes, as Ronaldo's agent, because remember, while Florentino Perez was the president when Ronaldo joined Real Madrid, he wasn't the president when he was signed. That was Ramon Calderon. And the deal with Real Madrid was done in such a way, if Real Madrid didn't sign Ronaldo, they'd owe him 80 million. As it was George Mendes' revenge. And this is why the whole thing, 80 million is all we could have got for him. No, that is a lie. You could have asked for Robin, Snyder, and you could have told them hands off Benzema, right? They would have done it, and they would have given you 80 million on top.
Exactly.
Fergus, what really, like, I started going against him in the night where Bayern knocked us out in 09-10.
Van Gaal's team.
Yeah, mainly because, do you remember that goal from Robben?
Lovely goal, lovely volley.
It was because of him, and not the fact that I dislike Robben. It's the fact that he should have been playing for us that night.
Exactly.
He should have come as part of the Ronaldo deal. And it's really funny because that he scored the goal that knocked us out, and then in the final it was Van Gaal against Mourinho. Talk about foreshadowing. And you had, and who won that game? Mourinho did, Inter, right?
Yeah.
Who set up the first goal for Inter? Wesley Sneijder.
It's just mistake after mistake, and
this
is what happens when you don't. When you have a man who thinks that he still wants to run the club like he does in the 90s, and we didn't get ourselves a sporting director, etc. We're still there. We're still at this point right now. We're still there 10 years later. We're still missing out on deals and missing out on players.
The biggest mistake, in my opinion, was letting him stay after the 2011 Champions League final, because that's the night I fully, like, the Bayern game was when I started turning. That final was a point of no return for me, and I'll tell you why. Look back the previous decade, Liverpool, Milan. Liverpool won in 05, 07, Milan, took revenge, so to say. But one thing I'll say about those two teams, Liverpool got stronger in the build-up to 2007. Yeah, they were underdogs, whatever. 2011, that Champions League final was the only time during Ferguson's reign where I was genuinely petrified going into a cup final. Yeah, on the outside I was saying, we're going to win it. But if you look at it, Barca had got stronger, and we had self-inflicted.
We thought we'd win with Park Ji-sung. We thought Park Ji-sung was the answer.
No, but like that night, look, we lined up with a midfield of Ryan Giggs and Michael Carrick against Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. That midfield won the World Cup the previous summer.
Don't get me wrong. Michael Carrick and Ryan Giggs can hold their own against most teams, even at that moment. Even
against those three?
But against those three, not possible. And, I just think our team was so depleted from 08 to 011.
And compared to 09 final 2011, right? Barcelona, Eto'o and Henry had left. They had replaced with David Villa from within. No, Pedro from within, and they went and signed David Villa, right? We had Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez didn't start the final in 09, but he was still part of the team.
I mean, Berbatov too.
Berbatov Ferguson left out of the squad
Well,
in
God, which was
11.
I mean, I think Ferguson. I think what people don't understand about Ferguson is, and people might think that we're bashing Ferguson, and we're not. We're just
Telling
being
the
honest.
truth.
We're just being honest about a decline
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people tend to just ignore.
Yeah.
It's ignored. It's ignored the fact that after '08, that there was just a massive decline.
Yeah. Well, I think once Ronaldo left, that's when it really. And people say, "Oh, there's been decline since Fergie left." No, that's when you began to see the rot set in. But
Yes.
the decline was. Let me put it this way: that 2011 final was a microcosm of what was to come, and people forget how bad, or if they don't forget how bad, they refuse to acknowledge out loud how bad 2011-12 really was. Yeah, because of the last minute goal. Okay, we were champions technically on the last day of the season. We won all of one home game in Europe that season. Look at the group stage we got eliminated from. And this is why they hate Mourinho, that football heritage press conference. It's because he told the truth.
He said
That's what they hate.
I mean, I don't know.
The
I don't know
group.
if it's the truth. I don't know if that was the
It
truth.
was the truth. We had a group of Galati, Benfica, and Basel. We got knocked out of that group. We were finalists barely 6 months prior. We should not be knocked out of that group.
And then we got battered by, was it Betis or
Bilbao.
With Herrera dominating us. I mean,
Yeah.
Herrera was never the player that he was at Bilbao, by the way, because that was a player where I saw in Bilbao.
Well, that's because he had Javi Martinez next to him as well. Don't
Yeah,
forget.
but still, I mean, he was
Yeah.
amazing in both those games.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, if you think about it, right, we got battered by Athletic Bilbao. Ajax beat us at home in the Europa League that season as well. League Cup, we got knocked out by Crystal Palace, who were in the Championship at the time, at home. We also, FA Cup, we got knocked out by a very poor Liverpool team. And on top of that, we coughed up an 8-point lead with 6 games to play.
That is the element that people always forget. We was clear, and then we just started losing, drawing games, game after game, and he wonders why. Like, people wonder why we bought Van Persie, because, in my opinion, I know, we was on the decline, but in my opinion, Rooney is an inconsistent player, and Fergie realized from that, debacle of losing those 8 points that you cannot rely on Rooney when pressure is there. When pressure's there, Rooney will fail. And, people laud Rooney as one of the greatest players, but people really don't. Like, they say, Rooney's this and Rooney's that, but they really don't, because he's done, when you actually look at his career, what did he do for us? I know he's goals, but what did he win anything for us? Was he crucial for us? He had a few crucial moments, but I mean, even the bicycle kick came off his shin, let's be honest. You know what I mean? So
the thing is with Rooney, I think what people, and myself included, Rooney had a much higher ceiling than Ronaldo. Well, not much higher, but he had a higher ceiling, in my opinion.
Yeah, he had more potential initially.
You know that Ronaldo's older than Rooney?
Yeah.
Just let that sit for a second.
I know, it's embarrassing.
Ronaldo's still playing. Look at Rooney at the age of 30. Rooney was finished at 29 at most. He was done. Ronaldo, after the age of 30,
went higher.
Yeah. And his decline was one of the most
shocking.
Shocking. And what Mourinho said in that press conference was right. Look at the players I've sold. Look at where they play, how they play, if they play. He told the truth.
Yeah, it's right. But just talking about Mourinho, he's finished too.
Yeah, he is.
So
he is.
He is about where what players, but since Chelsea, he's been finished. I mean, he won us the fair dues, but other than that, he's been finished. But let's talk about our last subject that we just want to touch on before we end up.
The main man, Deucey V.
And if you don't know who he is, you need to check him out. I started checking him out. I knew who he was, but I never really watched him. So I started checking the guy out, and he does look like a top quality striker. Vlahovic, your guy. Tell us about your guy.
Well, I've been a fan of his since last season because I sort of went towards Juventus last season because of the corruption at United sort of really put me off.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the reason I started turning against him is because what they did to Jose, they effectively bullied him out of a job. I've experienced that personally, and it's traumatic
Mhm.
when you're going through it. So I'm a very empathetic person, and I just recovered from that
Mm.
mentally. And then seeing someone else go through it in real time made me relive that trauma.
Yeah, I hear that.
And but yeah, and Vlahovic last season was his breakout season. But a lot of young strikers, particularly, they have those sort of seasons where they can seem to have broken out, but then some they continue soaring, some end up like Benteke. But he looked very good at Villa,
Mm.
and just. But I think with Vlahovic,
You played for Villa, did you say?
yeah, Christian Benteke, you don't know that?
Oh, I thought you meant Vlahovic. Sorry.
No, 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 no. No,
Yeah.
but oh yeah, I see who did play for Villa. Do you know that keeper Spurs signed this summer, Galini, the backup?
Okay.
He actually started his career at United's academy, then went to Aston Villa. Fun fact.
Mm.
But yeah, Vlahovic, it can be a flash in the pan, and or they can score a lot of goals, and then it just,
Is it
that.
more Belotti? Because I'm worried it's a Belotti. I'm worried.
Oh no, 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 no. He's more Benzema than Belotti, but more prolific than both. Like Vlahovic last season, yeah, he scored a lot of goals. 50, he got 21 in 34, 15 one. He scored 6 penalties and he scored 15 normal goals. Like this season, the variety of his goals has gone up. Like he's scoring a lot more from outside the box. His link up play is better. He even scored a free kick this season. It was beautiful.
Mm.
I love a free kick. I can't lie. Del Piero is my favorite player ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Mm.
and Beckham growing up on him.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's free kicks. Okay, he wasn't as prolific, but they're still
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Messi. Yeah, I just love a free kick. And the thing is, he's not fast in like a Thierry Henry or a Fernando Torres,
Mm.
but he is deceptively fast.
Yeah.
He's like, remember Van Nistelrooy during his prime?
Yeah. That's what he reminds me of, actually.
Yeah, but he can score from outside the box.
Yeah. You think he would suit Man United?
Oh yeah, but I think what's going to happen is I can see Harry Kane going to City at a cut
Yeah, but
price.
you still think Harry Kane they're going to take a risk on that trash bag? Because I think it's trash. I think
Yeah.
I've been saying Harry Kane's been crap for like 5 years, even when after that season that he really played well. I think it was 15, 16 for Tottenham. I haven't seen the Harry Kane since. I haven't seen it.
I saw him last season, but I think Pep. I think City will get him at a much lower price than what they did they were going to pay in the summer. And I think Spurs will take that money and buy Vlahovic with it. And the reason I think Spurs will is Conte likes him, and Paratici's fancied him since his days at Juventus.
Mm.
And Paratici used to be a scout himself.
Mm.
And yeah, we let Tottenham have a free run at Paratici, who's the only reason why Conte got to Spurs. Because, and people were saying, shout out Terry Flores actually, he called it because he made friends with an Italian journalist and they gave him the inside info on it. And he said it the day after we lost to Tottenham that Conte is coming to Spurs, and everyone laughed at him and like called him stupid, but he was right. And when I heard that, the day after we beat Tottenham 3-0, that Conte could be going to Spurs, a lot of United fans were laughing on social media, but I was like, no, I think it's serious this time. And then when I heard that Paratici stormed out during the second half, I'm like, oh god, this is happening. And the fact of the matter is, Fabio Paratici had more reason to join us than he did to join Tottenham. Pogba knows him very well. Evra knows him well. He's the one who signed Ronaldo for Juventus. It's Paratici. Why even after he joined Tottenham, you could have tempted him out of there easily. But no, you stick with mud.
It's boys for the jobs. Boys for the job. Boys for jobs for the boys club, It's a job for the boys club, We don't we have our own little circle. We don't invite anyone in. Only if we know them,
Yeah.
and that's it. We don't know foreigners. It's Brexit FC. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what it is, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
this German guy in, and they're all panicking already. They're already panicking.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, speaking of Vlahovic, right? There's another. Well, he's Swedish, but he's of Slavic descent. Dejan Kulusevski. He's a massive plays for Juventus. He's a massive United fan too. He wears number 40.
Like him. I really like him.
Yeah. Do you know why he wears number 44? In tribute to Adnan Januzaj.
Oh, really?
For some reason that's his idol. But yeah, and so you've got Kulisevsky. Apparently, Arsenal are going to get him for 35 million in January. What the hell are we?
I wouldn't be. You know what? The thing is, obviously, he hasn't done amazing stuff at Juventus, for reasons I don't even know why. But
yeah, but he still scored the winner in the cup fight. He still scored the winner in the Coppa Italia final last season.
I know. But he's just. I just think, obviously, with what's his name, Chiesa. Chiesa's just overshone.
Oh, he's such a ball. I love Chiesa.
He just overshone him, and Allegri's. I think so.
I don't think Allegri is finished. I just think he's a comfort. I think he's a comfort zone merchant. He should not have gone back to Juventus.
Never.
He had the Real Madrid job in his hand.
I don't know what he did. I don't know why he went there, to be honest. I mean, Juventus are not a fallen giant, but they're not in a good space right now, But yeah, man, it's been great talking. And
but yeah, Dusan Vlahovic, I'd love him. We should be getting Nemanja Matic and Nemanja Vidic on his case, bringing him to United.
Well,
because you know what? He may end up at Spurs, but there's a worst case scenario here, and I really do not want to contemplate it. He is Liverpool. He's very much a prototypical Liverpool number 9. If you look at Torres, Suarez, Robbie Fowler, he got elements of all of them. We also very much a Jurgen Klopp number 9 as well. Like I can see a lot of Lewandowski in him. I can see a bit of Aubameyang in it. That's what imagine this front line: Jota, Salah, Vlahovic. That is, or even Mane instead of Jota. That is frightening. And on top of that, you know how Virgil's pings a nice one out to the touchline, towards the touchline.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like, okay, Firmino or Origi, they're both like 6'1", similar height to me. None of them are particularly big. Now imagine Virgil's pings going to a Vlahovic, or going a bit more centrally. He can hold the ball up, lay it off, or he can go to the side, drag defenders away, play Salah or Mane or Firmino or Jota in, and his movement is very good. I think Liverpool. I'm not a betting man, but I'd put money on Liverpool winning the league if they got him. I would.
Do you think? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised. But the funny thing is, Martial agreeing with Rashford. There was a point in 1920 season, right near the end, where we was like, those three had more goals than them. Them the other three at Liverpool, and it's just like I just thought about that decline of these players compared to like Liverpool, especially Salah's pushed on a bit, Mane's still doing what he needs to do, and now they got Jota there. I mean, the state of our club, I mean, it's a joke, but
but could you? But thing is, imagine Liverpool with him. That is just.
I don't want to. You keep saying that, and I'm trying to block it.
Yeah, but it's like I see elements of Fernando Torres in him because he's not as fast as him, but he's a similar height to him. Well,
similar build as well.
He's actually he's more Suarez in build than he is Torres. Is Vlahovic. He's put on a bit of muscle. But he likes running into the channels, cutting back in, and he's deceptively quick.
The left foot is top. He's got a nice left. I like
that. And then there's the Suarez element in him and how rough he is in terms of like he can bully defenders.
I want to see. I would like to watch this guy more closely and see him.
Watch his highlights against Milan. He tortured their defense. Simon Kjær, Romagnoli, and I think Vicario Tomori. None of those are bad defenders. Those are excellent defenders.
Top defender.
He bullied them. He scored twice. His goal last week. I know it's only against a really rubbish team, but like his first goal, it was just beautiful. Like he saw the keeper off his line and he didn't chip him, but he didn't. It wasn't exactly a power shot. It wasn't finesse. It was like a mix of all three, and he like put it. He definitely factored the keeper being off his line and where he put his
I think
shot.
I saw that. I saw that goal actually. I saw that goal.
Yeah, and it's like, why are we not talking about him and Greenwood? Why are we not talking about having those two together up front?
Because we still got crap players like Rashford and Martial. Martial's not crap, but we still got players like Rashford and Martial clubbed out.
Yeah, but imagine, let's say Sancho, Greenwood, and Vlahovic. That would be filthy.
But you know what? No, the funny thing is, tell me a player that's come to Man United in the last 5 years that has fulfilled anything that we expected them to do, and even Ronaldo hasn't really done what we wanted.
But yeah, and the thing is, like, because Ronaldo, I don't think see him lasting so long. Imagine having him in your side, passing on that winning mentality to someone like Vlahovic, giving him that motivation to work towards.
No, I hear that completely. But until we get rid of all of our coaches, until we bring in a top quality manager, all this is great. But I just
Kulusevski and Vlahovic should be easy signing. We should already have them tied up by now.
Yeah, but we don't operate like this because we don't have a proper manager.
Victor Lindelof is his captain for Sweden. Why are we not utilizing
this? Because at the end of the day, we probably don't want what's his name? Kulusevski. We probably don't want him, to be honest, because we think we got Sancho, blah 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 blah. Like we don't think about potential and even potential sell on. We could even utilize something like that. But we don't think like this because we're not run properly. We feel you can think like this, I can think like this, but we're not run by people who understand football. And even Fletcher, he doesn't have a clue. Let's be honest.
That's what scares me in January, right? You're talking about we should go for Vlahovic January, not the summer. Don't let it wait then. Remember, there's a World Cup not long after the summer transfer window ends. Got to factor that in, right? There is no way Tottenham should even have a sniff. There's no way Liverpool should even be able to even think they can get him, let alone City. But imagine this, right? There's a lot of players in Serie A, quality players who are either approaching their prime, they're in their prime, whatever, or they've just started their prime. They're coming out of contract, or you've got players like Vlahovic, whose contract expires in 18 months' time, and he's refused a new deal. I sent you a message on WhatsApp about that. Fabio Paratici knows every director in Serie A on a first-name basis. He knows how to do deals. Like the Chiesa deal he got for Juventus. He got him on a 2-year loan, so 10 million a year with a 40 million obligation to buy at the end. He does a lot of deals like that, Paratici, and that's how they work in Italy. Christian Romero, for example, people say, "Oh, how are Tottenham able to spend so much as they signed Romero?" They signed him on a 4 million loan with an obligation to buy. Those sort of deals are his bread and butter. And there's also the fact that he's got a massive leg up. Serie A clubs do not want to sell to Juventus; they'd rather sell abroad. You have someone who knows all these directors personally. He's got agents like George Mendes and Mino Raiola. He's buddy with them. Now imagine someone like that going to Fiorentina versus the donkeys we have, Fletcher, Murtog, and whoever else, Woodward. Just imagine, it's just frightening.
Yes, a club of Manchester United stature as well. It's
donkey. And it's like, final thing, have you seen Conte, like the meeting between Conte and Levy the day he was appointed?
No.
It's like a scene from The Sopranos. I'm trying not to be ethnocentric and play on stereotypes, but it really did look like a scene from The Sopranos. He's introducing his entourage to them, to Levy, and like his coaching stuff, and just like the way he talks and everything. I don't know. It's just with Conte. I still can't get that thing with. Remember his interview with Thierry Henry? when he first came to Chelsea, and he's like, I prefer to kill him. And then Henri's like creasing, and then Conte repeats it, and he just doesn't flinch.
No flinching. No flinching.
You know which interview I'm on about, right?
Yeah, 100. And it was outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way he said, I prefer to kill him.
Hilarious.
You know where Conte's from, right? He's from He's from Lecce, and that's the region where the fourth mafia was founded.
Yeah, southern Italy, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. You know that Woodward.
There's something there. There's something there.
You know that Woodward would be petrified of him.
There's some sort of like he's been around these guys or something. I don't know. There's something about Conte as a player, as a manager, where he just doesn't fuck about. Honestly, he just doesn't fuck about.
And the reason I think Roman Abramovich was able to like not push him around, but able to. There's a power that Abramovich is mafioso as well.
Exactly. So they understand. They both.
He's more a kingpin.
Yeah, exactly.
Putin sees Abramovich as a son.
Trust me, Abramovich is connected completely.
Oh yeah, it's because he's more of a kingpin than Conte. But you know the English media are petrified of Conte, which is so funny.
They don't want to play games with him. No one does.
Yeah. Ancelotti, look, all the Italian managers, which one scares you the most?
You know who used to Lippi?
Lippi. He looks like a Don.
Lippi actually looks like what's it? He looks like that guy from Godfather.
Paul Newman.
No, the guy from Godfather. You know, the one who was sitting in Miami. Hyman Ralf. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, but Lippi. This is the first game I ever remember watching was Juventus v United, and that's why Del Piero is my.
Sorry, I'm not thinking of Lippi. I'm thinking of Trapattoni. Sorry.
Oh,
Trapattoni. This guy looks serious. Trapattoni, he looks absolutely serious.
Capello would scare me, but because he looks like Postman Pat, I just can't get that image out of my head.
I just don't, because when he tried to speak English, he sounded like a clown a little bit. I just can't. I don't really like. You know what I mean?
But yeah, Ancelotti looks like the Godfather, like because he dresses in dark colors as well.
I think Ancelotti. I think he's the type of guy he's not scary, but you just want to do well for him. Where I think like Trapattoni kill you. Will come into your house, leave a fucking horse head in your bed. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I wanted Conte, because you know what that thing with Neil Ashton and Woodward's house being attacked. Woodward doesn't even live there.
Oh, that was the biggest.
Yeah.
That was the biggest publicity stunt I've ever seen.
Do you know what Conte would have done? He would have made sure that Neil Ashton himself woke up next to a horse's head.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
He'd be like, I prefer to kill him.
I will kill him. Oh, jokes, man. But let's leave it there. It's been great talking, and this is our first one. We'll be doing many more. So yeah, man. Contextual one. Thank you. I'm Tactical Red.
Yep.
Hope you guys have a great evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.